The hardest things is to really be able to communicate and to travel through this world with another soul and understand that they're a soul and not a role. I believe that the dark energies of the universe or the matrix or whatever you want to call it will try to end them before they get there because they don't want you shining your light. They don't want you being successful.
You need to have the discipline to push through anything that you need to do, but you can't lose sight of the enthusiasm to do what you want to do.
Welcome to the Beardsman. My name is Spence.
My name is Mink.
We're the co-hosts here on the show. And you know what? We've been friends for nearly 20 years, and we've been having conversations around what it means to be a man in the world today. And we thought we'd just hit record and share some of the stories
grab
with
some
you
of
guys.
our best friends, jump on here, and just chop it up and talk about what it means to be a man and really how the world has evolved and changed and how that changes things. You know, like you said, we've been friends for 20 years, and I feel like how much different the world is today than it was. I'm super excited. We've got my buddy Dave Scatchard on the pod today. Dave, you're an all-around badass, dude. You played professional hockey. You were like one of those badass bruiser dudes beating everybody up. Mm-hmm. You went through a crazy injury, multiple concussions, really challenging health conditions. You found a way to heal yourself. Family man, you've got multiple kids, you've got a business. Like, I've had it's been a privilege to know you over the last decade and get to know you, and I'm really excited to have you on the podcast today. I think the first question we like to ask people is, like, obviously the world has a perspective of who we are, but who are you? Who's Dave Scatchard?
Wow, let's start with the layup, right? I'm a small town Canadian kid that sort of came from nothing. My dad was a coal miner, but huge influence. So we're talking about men, like he was a man.
Yeah.
You know, he's in heaven now, but the values and principles that he instilled in me were otherworldly from where he grew up. He was a farm boy, a tough Canadian kid. He was a lifeguard. He was a ski instructor. He was a PE teacher. He went into coal mining. Like, you know, he kind of lived a lot of lives in a short amount of time, but he was so wise considering he didn't have the thought leaders that we do today.
Yeah.
And he would say things to me and these principles constantly about believing in myself and believing like anything's possible. And I would tell him as a 5-year-old boy that I wanted to be in the NHL, and he never told me that was impossible. We'd do actual like games where he'd be like, so what do you think that's going to take? And he'd ask me these questions. As a little boy, I'm like, well, I got to get stronger. I got to get faster. And he goes, so how are you going to do that? And these are little breadcrumbs he was leaving out for me. And, you know, I'll jump right into it. One of the key principles he taught me was like, how can I close that gap from where I am to where I'm trying to get to? And he said, as a hockey player, like, what's one thing you think you could do every day from here on out on your own that would help fast track you?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I guess if my shot was better, I would have a better chance to make the NHL. And he's like, okay, so do you think you could shoot 100 pucks a day? And I'm like, I have like 3 pucks. So I'd have to get them 33 times, but I could do it. And he goes, no, go around after practice. And when the big kids shoot over, gather the pucks, bring them home. We'll put them in a milk crate, and it'll be stacked up. And you just got to shoot a couple rounds of those. And you can do that every day, right? And I'm like, yeah. And he goes, every day, right? Like rain, snow, hurricane, like whatever.
Want to, don't want to.
And it started to teach me this consistency process.
Wow.
And, you know, I'm a life coach now and business coach now, but like one of the things I say to my clients is like, what's your 100 bucks a day right now? What's the one thing that you can go and do every day? It doesn't really take a lot of talent. It's just consistency that can build your skill level to help close the gap from where you are to where you want to be. That was one of like hundreds of little things that he said to me, but they were so powerful, they stuck with me. And to this day, I teach them. And you and I have done work with Tony and all these people, Tony Robbins. And, you know, I'd hear my dad's voice coming through Tony. And I'm like, how does my dad knew this 20 years ago before Tony Robbins even was like, you know, famous? But it's just wisdom and positivity. He was the most positive man. He hang glided. He was one of the first hang gliders in the country of Canada. He had the second hang gliding license or something like that. And those things were like death traps. And he'd fire himself off the top of these mountains. And as a boy, my dad's like flying Like,
That's wild.
so
That's
it
superhero
gives me a
stuff.
pretty good,
Yeah.
but he was fearless, and he got banged up and crashed his thing and fell into trees. And after our third sibling or second sibling, my mom said, you know, you got to hang this up. You're going to kill yourself. But it was good. Somebody good role model for sure.
Yeah, very cool. So what impact has that had on you? How has that defined who you are?
I never look at something and go like, that's impossible. I look at it and go like, okay, how can we make this work, or who knows how to do this, right? I think there's that book, Who Not How. It's a fantastic business book and just life book. And a lot of times it's not like me trying to figure it out all the time. And this is probably one of my faults, is I like to do a lot of stuff myself, but leveraging experts in their field to be able to help you understand or learn the thing that you don't know yet.
Yeah.
I love the 100 pucks. That's super cool. Just to digest that a little bit, it's like you have this goal as a kid to get into the NHL. And it's a huge gap from you as a child to actually accomplishing that. Yeah. But it's like, how do you chunk it down into like bite-sized pieces, just take action, and then with the time committed, the 100 pucks. Like, I love that. So often it's easy to have this big goal and be like, how the hell am I going to get there? And it's like, well, 100 pucks at a time, right? Yeah. Identify the constraint. And
eat a whale one bite at a time,
Yeah.
you know? And we did that with all kinds of things. I asked for ankle weights for Christmas.
Yeah.
So you're allowed to open up one gift the night before, and I'm shaking all the boxes, and I pick up this heavy one. Oh, so I rip it open. I strap on the ankle weights. I didn't take them off for like 2 weeks. I'm sleeping with them. I'm going to school with them. All my buddies are looking at me. I remember being at practice. I was putting on backpacks with weights on, and then still like practicing, and all my buddies were making fun of me and all of that. And I did this roast after I made the NHL, and I went back, and the whole town was there. And my buddy got up on stage and he goes, "Dave was such a dork. Like, you wear these ankle weights, these backpacks." We thought, like, what a loser. And then, like, he goes, "Who's the loser now?" Like, look at the guy. He's the one on TV. So, you know, I think like making a game of it and playing with it. I remember I used to rollerblade. I had one of the first rollerblades, like I want to say in Canada, and I remember being able to rollerblade to school in the frozen Alberta. Like, it was cold. It was barely anything shoveled. The snow would start to melt, and I'd put my rollerblades on, and I'd race the school bus to school. And I had to go a few miles. And at the first, the bus would just kick my butt every time, and all the kids are laughing at me and pointing at me because they could see me racing, and the bus would get ahead, and it would stop, and then I'd come zooming by, and and it was like this fun game. And all the kids were like yelling out the window, and I just started to toast it every day, and I'd be the first one to school, and principal would make me take off my rollerblades, and I had my shoes in my backpack, and that was like my routine. You can imagine a few miles a day, every day.
Good conditioning. Great
conditioning. You don't even feel like you're conditioning. You're jumping off the curbs, you're going in people's grass, you know, you're just screwing around. So all those things is like, if you can learn, like, you know, if you can play the game while you're learning, it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
So, and I think sometimes as men, right, we lose that gamifying the situation, and it becomes work, and it becomes a struggle, and it becomes heavy. And I think sometimes making it fun again, and I think can really help give you the energy that you need that maybe you don't have at the moment to get you up to that level.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Tell us more about that journey to becoming an NHL player. I know you and I have talked about it a lot, and you went through all sorts of ups and downs and challenges, and you know, you talk about growing up in a small coal mining town, right? 100 pucks a day, to you played 14, 15 years in the NHL, had an amazing career. Talk a little bit more. Tell us some of the stories behind the scenes of like what you had to do, how you got there, playing juniors, getting
and I want to know, maybe that's an assumption. Is it every kid from Canada's dream to play in the NHL? Is that just like a default, or is that special to you? Right?
No, it's not. A lot, at least, well, still today, most of the players, like over 50% of the league is Canadian. Mm-hmm. And if you think about it, like most of the stuff is cold or frozen during the winter. Not every place, but like a lot of places. So not really a lot to do.
Yeah, it's your sport.
It's on Canada. Yeah. It's on TV all the time in Canada. So you kind of just grow up as that being your influence. Yeah. And, you know, I go down south. My wife's from Tennessee, and everyone's got Tennessee Volunteers gear on, and there's 106,000 person stadium or whatever it is. Like, that's how they grow up. Yeah. So in Canada, it's hockey. And we had Wayne Gretzky and Edmonton Oilers. Great team to follow. Is a few hours away. We got to go to a few games. So when that's your goal, you kind of start to plan. I remember I was 12 years old. I think I had and it was always my dream, like since I can remember, to play in the NHL. And I remember I was 12 years old. I had 8 or 9 goals, something like that. And the referee came up and asked me for my autograph after the game. And he's like, "Hey kid," he's like, you're gonna do something special." And that was like the first time anybody ever asked you for my autograph. The same year, I wrote about it in my book, The Comeback, My Journey Through Heaven and Hell. I was 12 years old. I accidentally got invited to main camp for junior. So junior's like 16, 17, 18, 19, and some 20-year-olds. And somehow I got mixed up in the invitations when I was 12 years old. And I went to St. Albert. Now, we didn't have a lot of money, so we stayed in my dad's red Jeep Wagoneer truck and slept in it outside the rink because we couldn't really pay for hotels. We're in our sleeping bags. It's so freezing cold. We wake up, the whole Jeep is like frozen over. And I remember hearing car doors slamming. I'm shivering all night long. And I had an early session, like 8 o'clock on the ice. So I hear car doors slamming. I'm trying to unstick the door. I look out. There's this jack dude getting out of his car. He drove himself there. He's got a little peach fuzz on his face, a little beard. I'm like, "Dad, are there 2 ice surfaces or something here?" And he's like, "No." I go, "Well, there's a really big guy getting out of his car. I hope I'm not playing against him." Boom, all these car doors, and these young men, 16 to 20, are showing up for camp, trying to make the team.
And you're 12.
And I'm 12. Okay, and I'm skinny. I was a good player, but so I show up to sign in, and they're looking at me, and they're like, "Hey," my dad's like, "Dave Scatchard's here to register," and they're like looking around like for my big brother or something, you know? And she's like, "Where is he?" And he's like, "Right here." She goes, "Something must be wrong." So she goes, "How old is he?" And he goes, 12. She goes, "Yeah, this is main camp. Like, he shouldn't be here. He shouldn't have got one of these invitations." And I start crying. I start welling up with tears. And he's like, "Hey, like, we just slept in the truck. Like, can we get him a game at least before we go home?" She's like, "I don't know. He could get hurt." So they go get the general manager. I see my dad and him talking in the corner. He comes over. He's like, "Hey, big guy, you really want to try this?" And I'm like, "Yeah." So first game, first shift, I'm so excited. I got a full bucket on. Guys have no face shields. Like, they're big bruisers. And they put me with these 2 meatheads. And these guys all of a sudden drop the gloves and start like off the face off. So these 2, it's a line brawl. And I'm looking at this guy and he's like, "You want to go?" I'm like, no, I don't want to go. So these guys go to the penalty box. I'm sitting on the bench like, what did I get myself into? So I ended up playing the game and I played pretty good. And I think I got an assist or something. And afterwards, the general manager's talking to my dad in the corner. He's like, "Well, if he wants to try one more, we'll give him one more." So we sleep in the truck again. Next morning, wake up, and we got 2 ice sessions on Saturday. So I score a goal in the next one. And my dad's like, "Holy, like, you're playing pretty good." I'm like, "Yeah, it's just so fast and they're so big." But like, nobody had really hit me or hard or anything. But so I play the next game and chip in, contribute. And they said, you can play in the final game or whatever. So I get an assist early in the game, and then the game's tied 2-2, and I end up getting a breakaway. And these 2 huge guys are chasing me, and I'm like, "Dear God, please don't let them catch me." I'm skating for all my life, and I make a backhand move, I score the goal. And like, I couldn't believe it. You know what I mean? It was the game-winning goal. My teammates were swarming me, and I'm like, I was 12. But the funniest part is, I would go around in the dressing room and I'd be like one of the boys, you know, after the game, you shower and you do all the things. And I'd hear all these caw, 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 all these like sounds, right? And I'm like, why does everyone make this sound? And they started talking about like eagles in Alberta and bald eagles and things like that. So I get in the car and I'm driving home with my dad and I'm like, "Hey, Dad, are there a lot of bald eagles or something in Alberta?" And he goes, "No." "Why you ask?" And I go, "Every time I walk around the dressing room, the guys are talking about the bald eagle." I was 12. I was a little boy, okay? I didn't have a hair on my body, okay? So those are the things that nobody ever knows or hears, you know?
Oh, man.
That's great.
And then I kind of knew I could kind of compete with some of these kids. And at 15, 16, we set out a goal to win the provincial championships, which we did, which was amazing. It was my hometown. The whole town came down, small little town, filled the barn, went into double overtime. We won. And I knew that was going to be my last time living at home. I was probably going to have to go play somewhere at 16. So getting ready to move away when you're 16, when you're kind of sheltered and like you got good positive people in your life and parents and stuff, and you go out into the real world where like you're on a junior team, no parents, you have a billet family, but they don't really do much.
Yeah.
It was weird. And kids are like, you know, drinking and partaking in all the things that they never did at home because they're on their own. And my dad's values and even that like little voice in your head that's like, hey man, you shouldn't really be doing this or whatever, right? Yeah. It was so loud for me that I didn't succumb to much of the partying and that kind of thing because I was trying to make it. But those guys made my life hell because I was competition for them now. And it wasn't like, hey, we're all buddies, we're going to go play hockey today. It's like, hey, you're not going to get my ice time. And this particular team had a bunch of 20-year-olds and they made my life tough. I had to earn it, and I had a coach that hated me. And the team that I wanted to make, the Portland Winterhawks, they cut me. So they sent me down to this kind of farm system.
Okay.
And the coach didn't really want me there. So I'm calling home going, hey, Mom, I don't know if I can handle this. Like, these guys are kind of bullying me. I go, the coach doesn't like me. I don't fit in. Right? It's the first time I've gone from the big dog to like this.
Yeah, the peon.
Yeah. And I had to like fight for myself. And my mom said the best thing. She said, you know, your brother misses you, your sister misses you, we miss you like crazy. You can come back, but I think you're gonna like regret it. Wow. This is all you've ever wanted your whole life. And there's this tipping point in my life where I'm like, okay, like, do I want it? Because it doesn't matter what happens to me. It doesn't matter how much bullying, it doesn't matter how much the coach doesn't like me. Like, I'm gonna play so hard that they don't have a choice. They look like dummies if they don't play me. I'm going to work so hard that everyone notices me every day. And if I can hold that standard and not give a shit, pardon the language, I believe I can like impose my will on the system, right? Because it's kind of set up for me to lose.
Yeah.
And I did. And that day I dug in a little bit deeper and I made this deeper commitment to myself that like I wasn't going to quit. Like I was going to work till exhaustion. I'd die for my cause if I had to. And when I chose that level of like all-inness, I had to lean on that my whole career. And then ironically, my first or second year in the NHL, I had Mike Keenan, Iron Mike, the coach. Very hard coach. But when I was 16, I had a similar guy. Okay. And it kind of trained me to be able to take his shit and keep going without collapsing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was like a training process. And, you know, when I was thinking about talking today, I'm like, you know what? We all struggle with these things, but I believe they're given to us as gifts to build this resiliency and the strength inside of us that we might not know we have if we just had it easy.
Gotta be tested.
If you don't put any weight, you don't build any muscles, right? So you have to keep adding weight. And that's probably part of our mission, I guess, here on earth while we're here is to like create what we can create in my personal opinion for the greater good of humanity. And when you do that, it all comes back to you. And sometimes we lose sight of that piece when we're chasing it. You know?
Yeah.
I want to ask you something about your dad. Like, it's super cool. I became a father 14 months ago.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a game change, the best ever. To hear how you talk about your father and the values, like you can just feel the love and admiration and respect that you have for him to this day.
Thanks.
And it's super incredible to hear you and just living back to the values that he instilled when you left the house at 16. And I'd be curious if you were to share with me or anybody listening who is a father, like some advice on what you would do as a father yourself for fathers to have that level of impact with their children, right? That lives on to this day and had such a dramatic impact on your trajectory. Like what was it, if you can either share some examples or some just like lessons that you learned from him for the impression and the impact that he made on your life? What's up, guys? Spence here, co-founder of Live Bearded, and we wanted to take a quick break to let you know that this show is sponsored by Live Bearded. Meek and I started Live Bearded back in 2016. We're on a mission to help beardsmen look, feel, and be their best. So if you find value out of the show, if you have a beard or know someone who does, do us a favor and share livebearded.com. Go to the website, check us out. We've got the best beard products money can buy. All right, guys, back to the show.
Amazing question. I think number one, it starts with like the mindset and the belief. Like if I don't have, I can want to do something, right? Great. But if I don't have the right mindset or the built-in like belief, I probably will run out of juice when it gets sticky, right? I won't be able to complete the task or accomplish the goal. So I think for me, it's instilling that mindset that, you know, they are stronger than they know. They are powerful. They can control the outcome. They're not a passenger in this life. They can co-create this life, right? And I think my dad's belief in me and willingness to let me fail, let me struggle, not jump in and fix it or save it.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, you got to deal with that. And honesty and integrity. Like he was the most honest man, and we didn't lie, we didn't cheat, we didn't steal in our family. And we didn't grow up with like religion, but the way he acted was quite spiritual in a way because his standards were so high. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And as a kid that goes off on his own, I think having that in my back pocket kept me grounded when other kids didn't have that, and they just got pulled out into the weeds and got lost in that kind of stuff and got distracted from the goal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it sounds like the values that you witnessed in him became a real positive anchor to keep you grounded and keep pulling you in the direction of your goals.
1,000%. His values, and even in marriage, like my wife and I were so differently brought up. She's born Southern Baptist in Tennessee, and I'm from West Coast of Canada, and we're quite different people. She's certainty driven. I love uncertainty. I thrive in uncertainty. She likes rules. I hate rules. Like we're so opposite. And they say we marry our medicine, right? Well, we do. She's got pieces that I need, and I've got pieces that she needs. But the glue for us is our values and our core fundamental beliefs on the things that we're trying to accomplish as a family. And you know, it's not always perfect, but you have the ability to talk it out when it's not, and that's huge. I think communication with your son or with your kids, with your wife, you got to keep those lines of communication open and brutally honest sometimes, where somebody's feelings might get hurt, but it's the truth.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important.
And so difficult, right? Like having the courage to say the hard thing, the unspoken thing. We've talked about this a lot before. It's like so often we know what we need to say, but we just don't have the courage to say it. And it's like I've tried to train myself to, definitely in business and in life, you have to have a lot of hard conversations at times. And how can you reframe those conversations as like, okay, this is going to suck, but it's going to make me more?
It's going to suck in the short term,
Yeah.
but long-term benefit, right?
Absolutely. And if I love you, if I care about my wife or my son, I'm doing them a disservice if I don't tell them the truth. I'm harming them.
Yeah.
So reframing it like that is such a nice little twist, because it's like, well, you're right. It will help them in the long term. This will be something that they can lean on for the rest of their life. This is a life lesson right now. And how many, I could ask you guys this, like I can name probably 5 or 6 tipping points in my life where like I had a choice. I could quit and go home when I was homesick and it got too tough, and I dug in and I said, no, like, man, I'm all in. Like, I don't care what happens. I'm making it, right? I remember at the draft in 1994, the Vancouver Canucks brought me in to interview me along with 8 other teams. And at the start of the year, I wasn't ranked by Central Scouting. Mid-year, I was ranked 168th, and I got really bad mono, and I lost all this weight, and I almost didn't play the whole rest of the season. I had a great playoffs, and I'm getting drafted 42nd overall in the world. And they asked me this question. They said, hey, if you have to play in the minor leagues, like how long are you willing to stay down there and make pennies?
After you've been drafted.
After I've been drafted. Like, say you don't make it for a few years or whatever. Like, when do you go to Europe or when do you go to Russia and make some real money? And I go, what are you talking about? I'm like, I'm an NHLer. I don't want to go to Russia. I don't want to go to Europe. I want to play in the NHL. And they're like, yeah, I know. But like fast forward like 10 years and you're still in the minors. I'm like, I don't care. I'll play there 15 years if I have to get a game in the NHL. Like, that's what I'm here for. The guy's like, best answer of the day. He's like, so, you know, I think I have this principle. And I believe that if somebody's like not all the way in and they're trying to reach that upper level echelon, I call it champion or all-star. If they're trying to reach that high frequency, that special place of success, and they're not fully committed, I believe that the dark energies of the universe or the matrix or whatever you want to call it will try to end them before they get there because they don't want you shining your light. They don't want you being successful, right? So oftentimes we'll get knocked down that ladder a few times. We'll be like, man, must be a sign. Like, maybe I'm not supposed to do this, right? And it's almost like you gather your courage again and be like, no, fuck, I can't stop thinking about this thing. I got to go. And you climb that ladder again and again and again. And then I believe that when you fully commit, kind of like I did with the hockey, and I said, I'm all in, I won't be stopped. It's almost like those dark energies look at me and go, he's going to make it eventually. Let's go focus on these other 500 people that aren't.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that commitment, that resolve is super special and underrated.
100%.
I don't think people get that.
And I think that applies to all areas of your life, right? 100% to relationships.
Yeah.
I can relate to relationships. It's like, oh, the grass is always greener. There's other options. Like, how can you possibly settle when you've got all these millions of people in the world? When you fully commit and put blinders on to the rest and there's no other option, there's so much beauty in that commitment.
Beautiful, yeah.
Because that's just what you're doing.
And it's not easy.
Yeah.
The things that are not easy are probably the most special because everyone can do it.
Yeah.
Like making the NHL was the hardest thing I ever had to do, but only 700 people out of 8 billion get to do that. You know what I mean?
Wild.
So how special is that? But it might push me to my brink.
Yeah.
You know, running a multi-million-dollar business or tens of millions or whatever, it takes a special type of person to like kind of commit to that level of all-inness to dedicate their
We
lives
have to give up to
making
get it. Yeah,
happen.
totally. Yeah.
And relationship is no different. And when relationship is good, usually it makes the other things in your life much better. You could have a thriving business, but if your relationship sucks and you don't want to go home to it or whatever, it's very difficult. And knowing that that box is checked and that I've had 20 years of investment with my wife in it, and there's a level of trust where she can go where she wants to go, I can go where I want to go. I want to go play poker at the World Series of Poker. Great, go. I'll meet you there in a week. You know what I mean? There's no, and that's built trust over many, many, many years and many conversations. So she can go do a girls' trip to Cabo. She can do whatever. It's hard for people to not feel possessive of someone that they care so much about, but also knowing that you respect that person so much you would never want to hurt them. I just think is a beautiful thing and kind of underrated in today's world, unfortunately. And I'm not judging. It's just kind of how I feel.
Totally. You mentioned earlier that before we started recording that you guys have been married for 20 years and your relationship is better now than it ever has been.
Yeah.
What do you think has allowed that to happen? How did you, maybe, I don't want to say allowed, I want to say, how did you create that?
I think sharing like as much as we can with each other about our experiences, about what we like, about the things that excite us, about how we're feeling at the moment. Like there's no real secrets, it's kind of like, hey, this is who I am and take it or leave it. You know what I mean? Stop trying to change me. You know what I mean? Like, so if those things, you know how it would be. Like let's just pretend you had a boss and you're one way and they just can't, they resent you for it, or there's something against you, or they don't trust you, or whatever. It would be hard to work for that boss. It would be hard to be in the same space all the time. And that's the most difficult thing is like creating that openness, but also alignment. So this is a really fascinating story that I think will be helpful. Is I was doing some work with Donnie Epstein, and Donnie, and he works with Tony. And I was on Donnie's table one day, and he goes, "Why are you resenting your wife?" And I go, "I don't resent my wife." And he goes, "You're 100% resentful of your wife." I go, "I am?" He goes, yeah. He goes, your energy field is just saying it. And I go, I wonder what it could be. And at the time, I was doing all this personal growth. I traveled the world, done the platinum partnerships. I've done the stuff with the monks and the shaman and all these energy people. And I've been having all this crazy growth. My brain's starting to heal after the injuries. I'm having miracle after miracle after miracle. I'm like, babe, like, you got to try this, or you should do this, or whatever. And she's like, no, that's your thing. Like, you go do that. I'll take care of the kids, like, whatever. And I'm like, why doesn't she want to be a part of this? It's so special, right? And that part of me was resenting her because I knew it worked. I knew it was real. And he gave me the best advice. He goes, don't resent her. You're both reading the same book. You're just a few chapters ahead. And when I realized that, I said, okay, I give up all resentment that day. I'm not joking. I get home from the event, and my wife goes, hey, honey, can I go do this girls' retreat with so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so? She goes, it's like a 3-day thing, and I think it'd be really good. I'm like, yes, please, go. You know what I mean? And now she's like my person. She's like sending me this podcast. Hey, you got to listen to this. Hey, you should check this energy person out. You should do this. And she's there now.
Wow.
So it's so fun because when I stopped resenting, she came along. And that's another thing. In relationship, I feel like if you're both trying to head to the same place, I don't have to be dragging her. She doesn't have to be dragging me. She can run her race. I'll run my race, and we meet at the finish line as long as we're heading in the same direction. And if she's going this way and I'm going this way, we got a problem. But if we both know what we're trying to accomplish, I can give her that space.
Yeah.
And she at times has said that I just need a little space to like figure things out on my own instead of us men trying to fix everything all the time. And I'm a coach, so like I try never to coach your wife. Don't ever do that, boys. I'm just saying. But you know, it's not easy. It's probably one of the hardest things is to really be able to communicate and to travel through this world with another soul and understand that they're a soul and not a role.
Wow.
She's not my wife. He's not my kid. He's not my daughter. She's not my daughter. They're a little soul trying to figure this thing out. Wow. If they don't make straight A's, who cares? If they don't like know quite how to do something, or they have a short temper, or they're rude or whatever, like they're still a soul. And it takes away instantly any amount of judgment the second that you look at somebody as if they're a soul. That could be a coworker, that could be a friend, that could be a spouse, boyfriend, girlfriend. So that soul piece, I really love that because it just makes it like easy to see and you almost give them more grace.
Yeah.
You know?
Totally.
I've never heard that before. They're a soul, not a role.
Yeah.
I think so often we do see people for the role that they play in our life, you know, and just taking a step back and having the humility or the grace to be like, I just have the privilege of witnessing this soul for this period of time. And I don't know how long that time is going to be, but how can I be the best support system, the best steward, the best lover of that particular soul? What an incredible way to look at it, bro.
Thanks.
That's powerful.
When I was coming up with my mission statement, I was trying to figure it out and I was getting really complicated. And eventually it came up with like, I'm an extraordinary ambassador of love and light. And that's an easy mission to accomplish. Has nothing to do about me making any money. Has nothing to do with me being all these things.
Yeah.
If I just show up as an extraordinary ambassador of love and light, I'm doing my job. And each interaction that I have, and this is how I feel like God wants us to be, is like it's a chance for us to be a blessing in somebody's life. Whether it's a 2-second smile to somebody or a pat on the back or an encouragement or a joke.
Yeah.
And I just got back from a trip in Aspen, and I had my son's 16th birthday, and he said it was the greatest birthday he ever had, and the stars just kind of aligned, and it was a magical trip. We had 5 days in the powder. It was just unbelievable. But I was watching him watch me, and, you know, you're asking about being a dad. When he said to me, he goes, "You're unbelievable." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, "You talk and make friends with everybody like instantly. Like there's no like breakdown." And I have the guy who's getting me my rental car laughing before we leave there and high-fiving. And, you know, the flight attendant brings me the free thing. I get a parking ticket, and then the parking ticket girl the next day, I make her laugh the next day. And she goes, I go, by the way, I had this ticket yesterday. And she goes, oh, you want me to get rid of that for you? She deletes it. Okay. I show up to meet a friend at the bar. We're going to have a drink and I'm doing a little business and stuff. And this guy comes over, he goes, hey man, somebody gave me an extra beer. You want it? I'm like, yeah, man, thanks. High five. My son's like, what? You get upgraded first class. Like all these things just sort of magically happen. But he goes, I think it's the way that you're like playing. It's like you're having fun with these people. And I don't know these people, most of them, but it's like, it's almost a challenge. And it's like, kind of like when you're dating and you're seeing if you still got it. You know what I mean? It's kind of like that with people where it's like, hey, if I can make this person's day, it's a great day. And simple.
Yeah.
What did it feel like to have your son recognize that in you?
Wow. For my birthday, it was February 20th. He wrote me the most beautiful card and I saved it. And I was shocked because you don't know if they're watching, like all the stuff and all the things. And it was like a 2 or 3 page letter he wrote me. Yeah. And I was just bawling when I was reading it. And it was probably like the greatest gift that I could get because you don't know if they see or if they understand or they're aware of how hard you're trying to teach and show and be a good example. But when you can look at yourself in the mirror and know that you have been, it feels really amazing. And to have them acknowledge it was the best gift I ever had. Like
Everything.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah. It's funny. I see Dax is 14 months, and to hear you say like if you don't know if they're watching, this little guy models and he feel like he watches everything and absorbs everything. And I don't know that really ever fundamentally changes. You know, it's like when you're that small, it's on a subconscious level. He's maybe not going to have memories, but like he's absorbing all the mannerisms and all the way that I interact with people and my wife and I interact together. Like he's witnessing and absorbing that. I do believe, like when I think back as a kid, seeing my dad, it's like you continue to absorb that and you continue to model what you're seeing, good and bad.
Yeah,
right. 100%. And one of the things that my son wrote in the card was how I'm always like affectionate with mom in the mornings when we're making coffee, and you know, I go and I grab her butt or I do whatever and I make her laugh or I kiss her on the neck or whatever. And he goes, we always say it's gross, but he goes, it's pretty cool that you treat mom so good. And I said, thanks, buddy. Like, you know, so, you know, even if they're grossed out by it, I think those things they're watching on how to attempt to be as a man.
Yeah.
And that's, why not? Like, why not be an example? Yeah. Like what else? What doesn't take any work to try to be an example, and it's a challenge. It's not easy. Yeah.
You mentioned that when you were growing up, right? You did all these weird things. Your friends would make fun of you. They'd point at you. They'd laugh at you. You mentioned, you know, you sat down and created a mission statement for your life. I think you've obviously done a lot of things that have put yourself out there into the world in maybe uncomfortable or vulnerable places. And it sounds like those things have been in some part directly responsible for the success that you've had by doing the weird thing, by being the one that stands out or looks weird. What would you say to someone who maybe doesn't have the courage to go against the grain or stand out, who wants to, you know, they have a big goal or dream, but maybe they're afraid to like let their light shine or stand out and be weird or different?
Yeah, the first thing is like your treasure and your gold is right outside your normal capacity that you haven't quite got to yet. It's right over that little wall you put up around yourself to protect yourself. And one of the craziest things that I did, and during my healing journey, is I wasn't healing for 3 years. I was at the Mayo Clinic. They told me I'd be permanently disabled. I had this terrible slur. I dragged my leg when I walked. I couldn't work out. I couldn't do anything. It was terrible. I had no memory. So on Alzheimer's medicine, all this stuff. I wasn't healing. And I'm like, why am I being punished? I thought God was punishing me for something. And I had so much armor around my heart and my soul from going to do all these crazy things when I was terrified out of my mind. And, you know, the first time I had my heart broken, the first time my dad spanked me, the first time I got bullied, you know, all these things, these little mini traumas sort of thing that happen. And they just stack and stack and stack because I'm a super sensitive person. So I didn't want my heart to feel that. It was just too painful. So I just covered it up. And the second that I ripped all that off, and I did this process where I just ripped all these layers of armor off, and I could just see all these like little incidences and things over my lifetime like falling off. And I remember just getting like blasted with this love and this grace and this healing. And I knew that being vulnerable and getting little David out and letting him shine his light, that little innocent soul, that was actually the way. That was actually the truth. And this warrior, that's not that there's everything was wrong with it, but this gladiator who could run through this wall and not feel a thing, couldn't feel a thing. I was just heavy,
Guarded,
and
yeah.
it was heavy and guarded. And when I ripped it open, I felt so naked and so vulnerable, but also everything that I thought was going to happen, like I was just going to get pile drived into from the world, was the opposite. And I just got like protected by this light. And I know it sounds all woo-woo-y or whatever. It's not. I was literally like protected because I was authentically aligned with my true soul. And I didn't have to pretend anymore. I didn't have to be the tough guy. I didn't have to be the perfect student, whatever. I could just be this normal soul like we were talking about earlier. So I know it's a lot of guys like, hey, I don't want to feel my feelings and stuff, right? But I think that there's some gold in there when you can kind of like let the guard down and really get comfortable with being who you really are just without trying. And that's a smooth, that's like flow and glide as opposed to like pushing all the time and protecting all the time and posturing all the time. And I did that for a long time in the NHL. What I didn't realize was there are pieces of that warrior that are amazing. The discipline, the focus, the determination, those are amazing, but I don't have to do it with all the stuff on. I can be light and agile and quick and adaptable, and stuff happens, but to be able to authentically align and go fast and light is very liberating.
Yeah. This theme has come up multiple times in conversations, right? How do you become authentically you and then you don't have that mask or that armor on because you can be light and loving and fun and whoever is authentically you.
Amazing.
Right? And it's hard, I think, in the society that we live in today. It's like we're so easily influenced to be someone else because there's so many things to model. We're exposed to so many more things, right? Going back 20 years ago as a kid, if you didn't have social media to like witness how everyone else is doing things, like you just have your surroundings. But now we're so exposed to ways of doing life that it's easy to get caught into somebody else's model of that and influence.
Comparisitis, it's like a terrible disease.
Comparisitis.
It is.
So true though.
It's hard to win the game if you're always comparing yourself to everybody else because there's always going to be somebody else that's better or got more things or more stuff, and it's not what it's about. It's not. Yeah. You want to compare, like, look at the happiest person that you're around. Try to be like that.
Yeah.
You want to and talk about good models. Go to the best marriage that you know. Go to the best
100%.
parenter that you know, and be like, how do you? Your kids are amazing. What do you do at home?
Yeah.
You know?
Hey guys, Mink here, and I want to take a quick break from the conversation to tell you about our sponsor, Live Bearded. Spence and I started Live Bearded in 2016, and our mission from day one has been simple. We want to help beardsmen look, feel, and be their best, both with their grooming and in life. And with that, that's one of the reasons why we started the Beardsman, because we love having these conversations about what it means to be a man today. So if you have a beard, if you want to participate in this conversation and you want to look and feel your best, go to livebearded.com, check out our products. I guarantee you will love them. And if you don't, we've got a 365-day money-back guarantee. But I promise you will. So check us out, livebearded.com. Now let's get back to the show.
And it's easy. Like, see what works and model those things, but I wouldn't do it from social media. I would find real life people that I can bring into my circle. And we always talk about peer groups and stuff. Like, that's a thing for sure. And, whatever the saying is, whoever you surround yourself with, you become the average sum of or whatever. But that goes with like the emotional pieces and like spiritual, like all those things. They're there. So it's a game. It really is. And sometimes we take it too seriously and lose the fun of it. My little son just went to Washington, D.C. on a school trip, and he got back and he's like, Dad, we average 9 miles a day. And he goes, I never felt more energized or more relaxed. And he goes, I'm going to start walking. and he's only been home for 2 days, but he walked 10 miles yesterday, just around Paradise Valley and up Trail 100 and stuff like that. And he comes back. I'm like, buddy, I'm like 10 miles. He's like, yeah, you want to go with me tomorrow? I'm like, okay. Like, it's amazing, right? So whatever. It's
awesome.
Yeah.
I love, you can feel the playful energy that you bring and everything, and it's super cool. And we lose it, like we all have it as kids, right? Bring the play, everything's a game. You mentioned roller skating, beating the bus, all the things, like everything's a game.
Yeah.
And then you grow up and get serious, you lose that playfulness, and life gets a little harder.
I think joy and play have lost some of, like, it's not really talked about because nobody can charge for it.
Well, it's not on the scoreboard of success, right?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, bank account zeros, the house you live in, the cars you drive. Like, where's the joy and play bucket of scoreboard to?
Yeah,
It's not there.
I met a couple yesterday, and they're joining my coaching program, and they're from a very religious community, and they broke away from it, and I had them rate their joy, their fun and adventure, and their happiness categories of life, and they literally just looked at me like,
What's that?
What's that? And I felt sad for them because they've been so programmed and so structured that they don't really know how to just be now that they're out of it. And
I heard this interesting way of phrasing it just recently, and it was like, you need to have the discipline to push through anything that you need to do, but you can't lose sight of the enthusiasm to do what you want to do. And this very interesting balance. And like, if you overemphasize in one direction or another, if you're too focused on the enthusiasm, then you lose the discipline that you need to push through the hard days. And if you're too
over-indexed on,
if you're over-indexed on discipline, you lose the enthusiasm.
No joy.
And so like finding that balance, I think, especially as men, right? It's like we have a lot of responsibility, leader of family and businesses and things, and the protector, the provider, all these important roles that can feel very heavy. And we have to stay disciplined with, but finding the joy in the moment, like you're talking about, finding the playfulness. It is interesting to hear you guys talk about playfulness, because I think it's like, how much of your success coming into the NHL and being a professional athlete do you think was directly tied to the discipline, the work ethic, the determination, or the enthusiasm, the passion, the playfulness?
I think without the enthusiasm, discipline, or playfulness, I run out of juice before I even get close.
Yeah.
If you don't love what you do, or like love the game of doing it, you're gonna run out of juice. You can be really focused and really disciplined, but it's gonna get exhausted. Dean Graziosi talks about marketing endurance. Okay, he's playing a long game. He's not going anywhere. He's continuing to market to hit his goals and to achieve those dreams, but he's doing it like, if you don't love it, it's hard to run an Ironman if you don't really love the thought of like finishing it or like what that can become. And I've shared this on other podcasts, but going back to my buddy Donnie Epstein, I was running my Ironman and I tore my Achilles tendon right before the race. And I'm like, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to run this thing. I've never run any kind of race that long. It was a 140-mile race. And he goes, who are you doing it for? I said, well, myself. I want to see what I'm made of, my family, and maybe my coaching clients, because I got up on stage last year and told them anything's possible. And I just showed them that I could do an Ironman. I've never done any of these things before. So he goes, that's not big enough. You'll get hurt. You're not going to make it. And I go, okay, tell me more. And he goes, you have to make this a game where you're going to blaze a new pathway for humanity and create a trail for other people to follow you. That'll give you the juice if you're doing it for humanity. It's not for Dave Scachard. Dave Scachard gets this much energy. Humanity gets all the energy, right? So I'm running. I'm like, I'm blazing a new pathway for humanity, right? But it kept me going.
Wow.
And it kept me going. And so many times, like, I was like, how the frick am I going to finish this race when I can't even run? But I was like carried through this race. It was not my energy that I was using. I was using what's the word? The organized energy of the universe is basically what I was tuning into in that frequency, because it was not about
bigger than you.
Scatchard. It was so much bigger than me.
Yeah.
I think oftentimes that's what we all need to try to search for in our own lives, is that compelling reason or that why that is bigger than us that pushes us forward. Because if we're just doing it for ourselves, we will burn out. And how many examples of this are there throughout history where it is crazy motherfuckers that are overcoming unbelievable odds simply because there's a compelling reason or there's people that are counting on them. You know, I'm working on this email series for Live Bearded right now, and it's like highlighting men throughout history and how they lived. And one of the first stories that I read was about this guy named Ernest Shackleton. And so he was a British explorer who basically, this was like 1915. So he took his ship, the Endurance, from Great Britain to Antarctica. And the goal was to be the first person to cross the continent of Antarctica. They get there, the ship gets stuck in ice, then it freezes over, and then the ship, the ice in the ocean cracks and bends, and it crushes their ship. And now they're literally shipwrecked in Antarctica in 1915. And he's got a crew of 28 people. And for almost 2 years, they braved the elements of Antarctica, tried to figure out a way to hunt. They used the broken ship as shelter. They had hurricane force winds, sub-zero temperatures, like this whole thing, right? And the whole theme of this story is like this relentless persistence or this relentless resolve to save his men. And it got to the point where they were like, okay, no one's coming. We're not going to see a ship passing in the night. Like, we're running out of everything. We have to leave. And so they had these life rafts that were on the main ship that they saved. And the life raft was big enough for 6 people. So him being the captain was like, 5 men, you, and you. You're coming with me. And they knew that there was a whaling station on an island, but it was like hundreds of miles away. And they're freaking rowing in the South Atlantic. So they row 800 miles. It takes them 2.5 weeks.
Oh my God.
They get to this island, right? And due to things and whatnot, the whaling village is on the other side of the island. So once they get there, they then have to hike about 20 miles through wind and snow to get to the whaling village.
Oh my God.
Right? He gets there, tells them what happened. He commandeers a ship, goes and picks up his men, and then they make their way back to Great Britain over the course of 3 years. Didn't lose a single soul.
Damn. Wow.
And when talked about it, all of his men said he would not let us die. He did whatever it took to keep us going. And I'm reading this story, I'm like, how the fuck does a man do that? Because he had a compelling why. Wow. There was something greater than himself that he was striving for. In that case, it was his duty
His crew,
to his men. And I think as men, right, I don't know about you guys, but like I've always wanted to find that one thing that I felt like I could just put my whole heart and soul into. And you found it in hockey.
I did, but the scary thing for a lot of athletes is when it's over.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do?
Yeah.
This is all I've ever done my whole life. This is all I know. My schedule's built for me. My private jets are, my hotels, my food, my equipment, my training, my coaches, everything is dialed.
Yeah.
It's world class. See ya. Thanks for playing.
Shit, now what?
What? I got guys with $100 million in the bank that are cutters. And they're punishing themselves. They feel like they should be doing something, and they can't. Like it's wild because their purpose is like gone. Some of them are back in the game now, and things like that. Yeah, but thank God I found coaching for me because I get to interact with people who I love, and I get to challenge myself and use all of these lessons that life has given me. And if I only had the ups, I would not understand that contrast of the lows. And when I hit rock bottom for those 3 years, I can relate to anybody that comes into the program and go, hey, brother, I get it, man. Totally been there. And I used to think God was punishing me, and he mentioned to me that he was training me, not punishing me.
Yeah.
For the people that are going to come. Yeah. So that's the crazy thing is it might feel like the world's against you, but there's some sort of a reason or a strengthening process that you're going through right now that will help you if you can keep just going one foot in front of the other.
Quit. Don't quit.
Yeah.
Dang. I love that story. That's wild.
Yeah.
That's super
Amazing story, bro. That was incredible.
Yeah. So you mentioned multiple times your healing journey, right? Yeah. So you played all these years in the NHL. you had tons of concussions. Tell us a little bit about that story, what happened, and then what you learned from it. Because you said you thought for a while God was punishing you, but now you realize in some ways it might have been your greatest gift.
Yeah, I mean, I had a near-death experience. It was absolutely the most beautiful thing ever. I didn't grow up with the church or anything like that, but what I got to feel and the love and the grace and it's beyond any words. You can't really put it into words, but if that's where we get to go when it's over, like it's going to be amazing. Okay, you have nothing to worry about. But I'll fast forward through to the point where like I kind of was at this point where I saw my children at my funeral and my gravesite, and I was asking if I could go back. I got to go back. The message was, well, you can, but you don't have to. You're home. Like, I got to go back. Okay. And I go, what do you want me to do? You want me to go on a mission trip or like give all my money away? Or what am I supposed to do? And the message to me was like, love every person like they're your brother or your sister. Just love on them. And I'm like, that's it? That's pretty easy, right? I can do that. And then the second part was to share my story. And that's why I had to write the book. So I talk about the near-death experience in the book. But what my point was the pain when I came back from that level to the earth, through my migraines, through my struggles, through my hopelessness, anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, like you name it. It was so heavy, and I couldn't have functioned another 50 years like that. It was just too much. Like, it was overwhelming. And I screamed at God, and I said, well, why are you punishing me? Like, I didn't do anything wrong, and I need a miracle, or I'm out of here, and all these things. And I started to have some miracles, and one of them was getting back to that authentic version of myself. I had some instant healing. I had grace and things happen when I could remove all that stuff and just like surrender, I guess, aligned. And then I went on this journey, and Tony was a big influence. He would introduce me to different healers and energy people and shaman and monks and whatever. And then I would go down each one of those rabbit holes. And I said, I don't care. It was kind of like the tipping point. I went all in again.
Whatever it takes.
I don't care what it costs. I don't care what I got to do. I got to get better. My kids need me. I got a mission still. Like, I'm back here for a reason. Mm-hmm. God didn't put me back here to go golf 18 holes or every day or whatever. Golf's great. I love it. But I have a mission with people. And, it's not about me right now. This is not, I'm on a free roll right now. So, like, I'm trying to have impact. I'm still learning. Listen, I got a lot of learning to do. I don't have it dialed yet. My coaching program's excellent, but as far as the business and how to scale and grow and help millions instead of tens of thousands, it's still learning, and it's tough. It's hard and it's tiring. You know what I mean? So we talk about leverage. I need to get better at leveraging my time where I'm not the only guy and the only one-man show. I love it how you guys complement each other so well, and what you've built here. I think it's a beautiful thing, and I remember when you started this thing, way back in the day.
Yeah.
And what a community you guys have built. So I commend you on that. And I think that's where, for all of us, that community that we build, it's more than selling coaching programs or beard stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like creating this love of the brotherhood, or all these things. That's the mission, I think, and the business follows it when you're authentically doing it. I remember doing these challenges, and I had 25,000 people come through 1 year on my free challenges, and I had no idea what I was doing. And my funnels were terrible, and my sales pitch was awful, and like everything was bad. But I did it because it was the right thing to do during COVID. Yeah. And it just exploded the business. And, I'm probably going to get back to that, actually. I'm going to be doing a lot more free stuff and helping a lot more people. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. I remember we were having a conversation about this just one day, grabbing coffee, talking about business. And you're like, bro, I was just like giving away all this free shit. I didn't even know what I was doing. And then somehow I made $1 million. All these people just kept paying me. Yeah. And you're like, and then I started trying to like charge people for shit and run a business and do all these things. and it totally killed my passion for it. And then the business went in the opposite direction.
100%.
You're like, I think maybe the game is just like, how do we love on and serve people and just be a blessing in their life?
Yeah.
And then if we do that for long enough, everything else will take care of itself.
The message was to lead with love. And then, because that's what I was doing the first time. I was just trying to help people. And I knew most of those people were never going to buy a program from me or anything like that. But I was honestly trying to give them tools that they could take with them. And then the second time when I was trying to get to 10 million, I was just like firing. I was just pushing. And it's
so true.
It went opposite. My numbers started to go way down.
And then your quality of life.
Yeah.
Right? Your joy.
I'm just burnt out and I'm just like, I don't know how much more I can do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, the benefit to lead with love, even going back to you talking about the guy at the bar or the ticket or the thing, when you can high five the people around you, like how much joy do you feel just all day, every day? Like you're surrounded by love and good energy. And it's such a beautiful state to be in addition to the reciprocity you get when you're just truly serving to serve and add value out of love and not out of transaction. I need something from you. I'm doing this for you, for me.
100%.
It's no, I'm giving this. I want to add, I want to serve, I want to support. And it comes back tenfold.
Well said. Very well said.
Selfishly, I want you to share one story that I know from our previous conversations. You told me a story about you went back home for the first time after being drafted in the NHL, and you were sitting on a lake with your dad. Can you tell that story? Because for me, man, when we had that story, it brought me to tears. And I thought it was just such a beautiful representation of who you are, but then also who your father is. And I think it'll be a great story for us to end on.
Sure.
Yeah.
So I played a game in the season in the NHL, and I come back to my little town, and my parents have this little cabin, and we used to water ski and all that. But it's called Salmon Arm, British Columbia, and it's like these 4 arms that go out, and it's huge. It's a massive lake, but between the arms is a couple miles. Like you could see the other side, and then it goes for like 10 miles like that way. So we're sitting there, we're having a beer. I'm in like surfer shorts kind of, and he's like, man, what a year, congratulations, I'm proud of you and all this stuff. I'm like, thanks. And I'm having my beer and I'm like, how far do you think it is across that lake there? He goes, I don't know, only one way to find out. Okay, so I take my last swig of beer, I put it down, and I just start swimming. Right, and I'm swimming and I'm struggling. My shorts, my pockets are full of water. It's not like Speedos or anything. And I'm like, I'm not a great swimmer, you know? And I'm kind of doing back crawl and all this stuff. And all of a sudden I see this canoe just pull alongside of me. And it was my dad. And he goes, I thought I'd give you a little company. I'm like, okay. And I'm paddling and trying to get across. And I'm actually struggling. It's way harder and way farther than I thought. And I finally make it to the other side. And I step up on their side, and I'm like, oh, okay, good. Now I'm like, oh, I got to go back the other way. So I get in the water, and I start paddling, and I realize that there's a current that I was swimming into the whole way. But all of a sudden, the canoe pulls aside of me, and he goes, hey, you only said, how far is it across? He said, you didn't have to swim back. He goes, get in the canoe. And I get in the canoe, and he kind of lugs me into the canoe, and it's rocking and stuff, and he laughs. He's like, you're awesome. He's like, I love you. And I'm like, thanks, man. And he was always beside me. He was always watching my back, making sure I didn't get run over, or, you know. And sometimes I feel like God's like that too. He's paddling alongside of us, and when we don't think we can go anymore, he gives us a little help. But he's always there. So
I love that.
Thank you.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. That's incredible.
I think it's the perfect example of what it means to be a man and a father. Sometimes you don't need to say anything. You just need to take action as a man. And then other times you need to see your fellow man, brothers, sisters, whoever, and you just need to pull up alongside them and just be there. And the part that I loved in that story is like, we didn't even say anything. He just paddled and I just swam. You know, and it's like, damn, sometimes you just need to know that someone is there, that someone has your back. And I think that you've been a beautiful example of that in my life and so many people's lives. It's been an honor just to like live this journey with you and with you, Spence. I think, you know, in so many ways, the best thing that we can do is be the one to walk into the water and start swimming so we can lead by example. And then at the exact same time, we jump in the canoe and pull up alongside someone and be there to support them. So
Beautiful.
yeah.
Love that.
Well, keep doing what you guys are doing. It's fun to watch, and you're doing the right thing, and proud of you guys.
Thanks,
Awesome.
bro.
Thank you, brother.
Really appreciate that.
Tell the guys where they can find you, tune along,
Yeah.
tune in,
You
social
got to check
medias,
out
all the things.
plug the book for sure.
Plug it
I
all.
read
Plug
the
it all.
book.
They need
Okay,
it.
okay. So I told the guys, listen, I'd love to give away 50 copies or something to you guys. So that my book's called the Comeback: My Journey Through Heaven and Hell. You know, we were lucky enough to get on the Amazon bestseller list with that. And I'll start.
Guys, I'm interrupting for a minute because I read the whole thing from cover to cover, and it tells the story of you coming up, getting into the NHL, going through. How many concussions did you have?
Well, when they're doing MRIs on my brain, they saw 5 different spots that had bleeding, microhemorrhaging, and things. I don't know how many exactly. I'm sure it was much more than that,
Yeah.
but that's not supposed to be on your MRI.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and it's the story of how, literally you played yourself almost to death in the ring. Got to the point where you couldn't talk, you couldn't speak, you could barely walk, and you thought you were broken and God was punishing you. And then you figured out how to come through heaven to get to hell. It's an amazing journey. It's an amazing story. Everybody should pick it up for sure.
Thank you so much. You can follow me at Dave Scatchard on Instagram. Allstarcoaching.com is my coaching website, and there's a free video on there. But follow these guys. They're good examples. They're good humans. They're excellent at what they do, and they make a great product. I use my beard oil today.
That's looking good, baby.
my beard butter. But you guys are lucky to have such good examples, and I appreciate you guys for being good role models for everybody out there, because it's a crazy world we live in now, and I think we need a little light in it.
Yeah. Well, you're spreading a lot of that, and we're following your lead, brother.
Appreciate
Thank
bro.
you, man.
Yeah.
Appreciate you
Want
guys.
to take us out, Spence?
Yeah, well, we still don't have an outro. So, guys, if you're watching this point, thank you for watching along and joining. Hit the like and subscribe button. We still haven't come up with an outro yet, so we got to get on that. But
Maybe we don't.
Maybe we don't.
Maybe we just raw dog it and just.
The raw dog's good.
spread some love and joy into the world. Until
Yeah.
next time. That's it.